Hello lovelies, my name is Eric. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video's theme is out with the old and in with the new. This has sort of come about because recently I was working with my tarot deck that I've had for a few years, and I realized there was some goop on it, and I was very sad, but I'm reading next weekend, so I had to go out and purchase a new deck. They're both the Rider-Waite. So, let's get this open. So this one is the old one, and you can see from the edges and stuff, like, just how well loved it is. And, like, for me, I will use a tarot deck anywhere and everywhere. You know, in a coffee shop, in a bar, on the ground, in a cemetery, whatever. Like, I will use them anywhere. And so for me, having a durable deck is really important. But I've had this for years, and it's done me really well, and so I thought, I'm reading in a couple of weeks, I'll go out and I will get a new one. And when I did, I was a little bit struck by how stark the difference is between the two decks. So this is the new one, and you can see just by looking at the edges, they're so different. Just at a glance, it's just got such a different feeling to me. It's still the same cardstock and everything from what I can tell, and you know, it's still the same quality and everything, it's just brand new. And I don't normally have this issue with new decks. I think this might be the newest one I have. This is the Hermetic Tarot, and it's still pretty crisp and clean and everything, because I do try to take care of my cards, but you know, like, they're still meant to be practical. They're a tool, and I'm going to use them if I need to use them. So, you know, you can't always have a tarot cloth. Emrys. Sorry, the cat is moving the camera. So, yeah, I also sewed a new bag. I did the black on the outside and the eyes, the white with eyes on the inside, which I thought was pretty fitting. I put some little charms, a pentagram and a key, because I normally work with Hecate and Apollo when I'm working with the tarot, just because they seem to be a good, like, representation, and also, like, the color scheme that I'm working with here, is that idea of, like, light moves the dark that Rune Emerson always talks about. So I sort of wanted to incorporate that theme, and also the light and dark gods that I sort of work with, when I was thinking about how I was going to put this together. Also, like, you know, the eyes are suitable for, like, the third eye and everything like that, the psychic sight and all those sorts of things. So I thought that was really cute and really fun. This is my first time trying to make a tarot bag, so I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I think eventually I would like to do custom charm bags for people. So this was sort of like the first step into dipping my toes into that water as well. I got asked to make some mojo bags recently for a workshop that was being done, and so I did, and I was like, oh yeah, I could, like, scale this up, try to do a tarot bag, and, you know, try to have a play with what this would look like and how I would want that to be aesthetically. Anyway, back to the topic at hand, which is out with the old and with the new. What do we do practically with the stuff we're no longer using or no longer want? Like, what if we start working with new gods and we don't want the old god statues that we had? Or what if, you know, any number of things happen. We get a new Athame, or we get a new wand. What do we do with that old stuff? In this case, like I said, the deck will be shelved. I'm gonna buy a scarf for it or something, wrap it up, and probably just keep it on my working altar. There's still a lot of cards that are undamaged and still kind of okay that would be suitable to be used in spell work and stuff like that, so that's probably how that deck will be handled now. But I have had deity statues, or even saint statues, that I've worked with, you know, as Faces of the Loire and things like this. And quite often I will gift them to other people. The saint statues that I have, I gave to a voodoo friend who is still doing that stuff and still working with those spirits, so I gave them to her. But also I've had things like, you know, old tools and stuff, old decks that I don't use, and I find that quite often I become like a wayward house for certain magical items. I have a lot of decks and they come and go, like somebody might come over and they'll mention a deck that I happen to have, or, you know, I'll see a deck and just buy it because it's cheap, and then somebody will be really into it and I'll say, why don't you take it home? You know, so I find that I collect things and then often give them away. But I asked this question over on my Instagram, and one of the people that commented said that they, when they can, they try to release things to the elements, and I think that's really cool if it's biodegradable. Like tarot cards, you could definitely burn in a fire. You know, certain ritual ingredients, herbs and stuff, you know, can be buried in the ground, or some of it can be placed in the water, or that sort of thing. So that's definitely an option. I remember Benabel when she does the paper talismans in one video and teaches you how to like ward and cleanse your home. And that was really cool. And she actually says, like, with those talismans, because they're kind of like dirty dish rags, you can just throw them straight in the bin and that's fine. And I think for some things, you know, depending on what the symbolism and stuff is around the thing you're using, throwing it in the trash or like flushing it down the toilet or something like that is definitely like applicable, and could be really useful in some situations, I think. A lot of people have an issue with using second-hand things in their practice. I'm not really about that life. I think things with like history and life in them is kind of cool, and that's something that my teacher sort of like drummed into me. A lot of his tools and stuff that we used in Circle were secondhand or inherited from other spaces. So if there's somebody who would like your old Athame, like, give it to them or sell it secondhand on a marketplace or something. Like, those are definitely options. When I got rid of a lot of my books, I did the KonMari thing, and I got rid of a ton of books, about 100 books, I think. And I took them to a witch group that I go to, and I said, like, take what you want, it's $1 each. Like, which is ridiculous for, like, some of the books that I was selling, some academic texts and stuff that I probably could have got $100 for, selling them just for $1. The rest of them I took to a witchy shop, Eclectica, here in Brisbane, and they took the rest. So, like, yeah, I was just, like, selling things, you know, returning things to the elements, all that sort of stuff. I think are really valid ways of getting rid of your leftovers, I guess, or your things you're no longer using anymore. But I think that's definitely things that I will keep and probably won't ever get rid of, or pass on. And those things like this tarot deck are things that will probably just be shelved or placed on the altar in a place of honor. And yeah, just kept as memories, I guess, you know, like I have a lot of the tools and stuff that my coven used to use when I was leading a Seax Wiccan coven. There was a lot of tools like the plastic swords and stuff we used to use for the Holly and Oak King battle and stuff like that. I still have them. And even though I don't use them and won't pass them on, and, you know, they'd be essentially worthless to anyone else, I still keep them and shelve them in that place of honor because of those memories and stuff that are associated with them. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Like, what do you do with stuff you're no longer using? Do you pass things on? Do you sell things? Do you throw things out? Are there things that you would never throw... Sorry. Are there things you would never throw in the trash? Or are there things that you definitely always throw in the trash? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. I hope that you guys are well and that this video has been somewhat entertaining. So until I speak to you next time, bye!